Sometimes in life, we feel pressure to do something we really don't want to do, like sorting out our personal accounts, weeding the garden, doing the laundry, or worst of all, cleaning up that messy bedroom. It's called procrastination, and if you've ever experienced it, I'm sure you've also had plenty of advice about how to overcome it from friends, relatives, and self-help gurus. But frustratingly, as well-meaning as this sort of advice is, my bet is that probably none of it will stop you from stalling when you should be doing something that you don't want to do because you've been down that path before and you know that subtle coercion of any sort from any source doesn't work when you're in a rebellious state of mind. And you probably know that the reason you are not doing the things you think you should do is because deep down there's something wrong with your life. If this is the state you're in and you've been there for a while, it's also likely that you don't quite know what to do about it. So stay with me as I explain, because there is an alternative to feeling bad about your need to procrastinate. You obviously have a reason for putting off starting something that you don't want to do, and whatever your reason is for stalling, you shouldn't feel bad about it. My advice is to stop thinking that you should do anything you don't want to do, and don't do it. Just don't do whatever it is that you are procrastinating over. Don't sort out your personal accounts, don't weed the garden, don't do the laundry, and definitely don't clean up your messy bedroom. Leave it just the way it is. If you don't want to do something, just don't do it. But you must do this instead. Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, Living an Unlived Life, where my goal is to find contentment by honouring my dreams, where I'm actively transforming regret and disappointment into a life of satisfaction in my later years. But before I explain my reasoning for saying just don't do it and offering you an alternative, let's go back to that messy room and look at what it really means. The room is messy for a reason, an important reason. You are not lazy, so don't beat yourself up about that. And I'm sure that you do actually care about appearing slovenly to other people if your room looks like a tornado just hit it. It's just that you are emotionally blocked at the moment, and the state of your room is a symbolic act of defiance. It's a quiet, very personal cry for help. It is the way in which you show your frustration with the world, because it is one of the few things that you do have full control over. And that's okay, because actually there is no intrinsic reason for having a tidy room. You see, as human beings, we take action only if we have a reason. As I describe in an earlier video, we tend to move either towards pleasure or away from pain, and our motivation either comes from within ourselves or from an external source. When you lack motivation to do something you'd originally agreed to do, it's likely that your original reason has become confused by another conflicting reason for not doing it, even if you don't know what that reason might be. Alternatively, the instruction to clean up your room has been a dictate from someone else, and you resent that person having a hold over the way you behave. Then, no matter the level of importance of the activity holds, once you've got to the point where you no longer want to participate, a downward spiral ensues as you beat yourself up for not being more enthusiastic about doing something you made a commitment to do a while back, but now don't want to do. I'm in my 70s and I've seen a lot of change in society since I was born in small-town Canberra in the 1950s, and the main change I've seen is this. Along with all the time-saving household appliances, entertaining electronic devices, and global communications via worldwide internet connectivity, has come a massive pressure on people to participate to a much greater degree in society. The pace of life is so intense now that it is leaving many people feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, susceptible to procrastination, and, ultimately, being depressed. What's not so clear is what you can do about it. If you're in a conflicted state of mind and suffer from procrastination, my belief is that there is only one thing that will save you, and that is to begin a search for your true inner self and give yourself permission to be that person. If you are lost and confused, the last thing you need is to feel guilty about all the things that you think you should do but haven't found the enthusiasm yet to do. You need to find enthusiasm first, and enthusiasm doesn't come from cleaning up your room or doing anything else you feel obligated to do. By all means, clean if there's something that you suddenly want to care for, but otherwise just don't do it. Just walk out of your room and out of the house and shut the door. Enjoy being a rebel, but you must have a cause, and your cause should be finding your true self, your clever, powerful, satisfied, contented self. Then your enthusiasm to clean or weed or do the laundry will come naturally once you are content with the direction of your life overall. So what should you do once you've closed the door? You should find a quiet place to sit, a park maybe, and you should dream. You should actively daydream so that you can create the life you want to live, the life you need to live in order to feel motivated again. When you get to the point that you feel an inkling of enthusiasm, head on home and begin a process of discovering what you really want to do in life, what you really need to do, so that you can achieve an overarching level of contentment deep down in your soul. Here's some ideas for the process that you could use to find your enthusiasm for life again. According to your preference, turn on the recording app on your phone, type on a laptop or your desktop, or preferably use a pen and paper, because that way you can easily draw as well and be as emotionally expressive as you like. You could also draw with chalk on the pavement, lipstick on a mirror, a fat texter on butcher's paper, your fingers in the sand, or dust on a car window. At first, just blurt. Get out all the annoyance and frustration in your life. Get angry even. Allow yourself to quietly rage over all the inequities you are currently feeling. Shout out everything that you don't want to do. Weep at the frustration of it all. Allow yourself to be angry at where you've ended up. Claim out aloud all the things you weren't allowed to do as a child. Dredge up thoughts of all those people you've ever been jealous of. What did they have that you've always wanted? When you're through shedding all the negativity, turn to the positive and start to dream about possibilities. Your goal is to eventually produce a mindset reset list, but for now, just dream as expansively as you can. Don't worry at this point about what each activity might cost. The aim of this process is to regain the feeling that there could be something that interests you. Start with small ideas that are undemanding and manageable, or start with grand plans such as sailing around the world or competing in the Olympics, or create a list of silly things that make you smile, such as making mud pies or walking through a mall wearing a clown suit. Put down everything that comes to mind, sensible, silly, outrageous, and impractical. Go big, go small. Think in terms of if possibilities. For example, if I had a dog, I'd run every day. Or if I could speak Spanish, I could go to rural South America. Or if I had a pilot's license, I could fly my friends to Rio. You're particularly looking for memories of all those activities that have ever interested you, passions that have been buried deep for decades. What you're aiming for is a list of all the things you've ever wanted to do. Throw everything into it, big or small, cheap or wildly expensive. Don't classify, don't censor yourself, and most of all, don't annotate your ideas with value judgments about whether they can or cannot be achieved or how much they might cost. Don't try to explain why you are inspired to do a particular thing. You don't need to justify your choices to yourself or anyone else. And do not write anything on your list that is a task or an obligation. If at first you're not inspired, list some of the activities that used to give you pleasure. Don't worry about trying to say why. We are not justifying ourselves here. If you are so depressed that you can't even get enthusiastic about starting a discovery process, scroll through Pinterest or YouTube or TikTok for inspiration. If you're not inspired to do anything at all, then you simply need to move. Get up and walk. If you don't want to go outside, walk up and down a hallway. Ask your inner self, is the one small thing that I could do today that would make me feel just a tiny bit better? And finally, if you can't write for yourself, be the voice for that person inside you that is begging for a chance to express themselves. This is something I've done for myself over the last few months, and so if you need some further inspiration, check out my Mindset Reset Challenge series, which came about when, in late 2024, I decided to radically change my life by making not one, but a whopping 52 New Year's resolutions. You can find the introduction to my Mindset Reset series here. For more information about living your own unlived life, if you go to my website, you can download a copy of my free book, Living Your Unlived Life, Finding Contentment by Honouring Your Dreams. And if it's your thing, you could like this video and subscribe to my channel.